Class, are we ready to go? Awesome. Okay. So, Alan, nice to meet you, dude.
Nice to meet you.
So you are from France, obviously.
I'm from France, yeah. You can tell by my accent.
I don't know. I couldn't work it out. And whereabouts in France?
I'm from the West, Brittany.
Okay.
So that's why, ginger beard.
Very nice.
Yeah.
And you studied in Torino?
I studied first in Paris, but then I was not really satisfied with the education that I received. It was quite expensive, and you know how it is. My feeling is that design schools are becoming more of a business those days, which I regret. So I searched for another school, and then I thought, why should I stay in France? Maybe I should go to another country to learn new language or new languages, which I did actually. I've learned English and Italian.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was a win situation for me. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I need some tips on learning languages. I've been in Germany 5 years and I still can't speak.
Yeah, I've been in Germany for 1 year now. Yeah, it's a difficult language.
Oh, it's tough.
Yeah.
Did you consider going to somewhere like ISD, for example?
Yeah, I've considered. So after my first experience, I've considered Strat College and I've considered ISD. But again, I thought, yeah, doesn't make sense. Why should I move to the north? Or because I'm from the west anyway, so I will have to rent a place. So I thought Italy is not so expensive. Let's give it a try.
Okay.
Yeah.
And like your experience of that school that you went to.
That was great. That was great. Yeah. But because also in IED, so IED, the teachers are actually designers during the day.
Okay.
And they give class as soon as they have free time or stuff. So you receive an education from the guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Which I like.
And that obviously wasn't the case at the first place that you went to.
No. Okay. Actually, what I regret about a lot of design school nowadays, as I said, the people who succeed, they do it. The people who don't, they teach it, which is a reality.
Yes.
People that fail at becoming a car designer usually end up being a teacher, which does not make sense.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's a reality.
It is a reality, yeah. And do you think that there's an opportunity there to kind of bridge that gap?
I wish. Yeah, actually, that's one of the wish I have. Yeah.
Okay.
To give the young kids a proper education. My feeling is that now I'm not making any generation of what I've been through.
Right.
But I think there are a lot of schools concerned about that. And I think you are receiving some knowledges from people that are frustrated. They have a frustration that they didn't become a designer. So that's what I've been through, and I think a lot of new students are going through the same thing.
Were they finishing this? They finished their degree and they still are like...
And they can't find a job because they don't have the level that it requires. Because as I tell, every time when I go to schools to give a lecture, because it happens, I go to school and I give a bit of demo. I talk about my background, and I'm always telling the guys, be prepared because it's a big competition. There are a lot of designers coming on the market every year, a lot of new guys, fresh guys. So you have to be among the best if you want to become successful.
Crazy competition.
Yeah, it's crazy because how many schools are there?
Sure.
Yeah.
Do you, with the positive experience that you had in Torino, would you say that like how much was that down to the effort that you put in versus the institution?
Oh, I made a lot of sacrifices.
Okay.
Yeah. We were 4 friends leaving France to Italy.
Mm-hmm.
And when I arrived in Torino, I told my friends, look guys, for me it's 3 years of my life. I had my girlfriend, who is my wife today. And I said, guys, I don't want to fuck around. I'm going to focus on my studies. And that's what I did. Basically, not going out at night, or barely going out at night, staying in the apartment and sketching.
And that became a religion for you. You just every single day. Yeah.
Yeah, because basically sketching was not my how to say, my asset.
Strength,
yeah, my strength.
Okay.
So I really had to kick my butt. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's what I did.
And what, like, did you? So you clearly a petrol head, though, right?
Yeah, I am.
Do you think it's like a prerequisite? Do you have to be a petrol head to be a good car designer?
That's what I think.
Okay.
I know that I'm a bit old school in my approach, but I feel that if you want to make the best out of a car, you need to know the car.
Okay.
And that's why as I said in many interviews before, I didn't know anything about cars before my 16 years old. Yeah. And instead of going through art at school, I decided to go through engineering.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't like that. I didn't like engineering, but I said, if I want to be a car designer, I need to understand what's underneath.
So you knew at that age, like, that's what I'm doing, and that's what I want to.
Yeah. I know. I knew I wanted to be a car designer. I was 9 years old.
Really?
9 years old. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And basically, I started sketching when I was 2, as far as my mother can remember.
Yeah.
So I was 2, and I started liking cars roughly around 7, 8.
Yeah.
And then after a few years, I started thinking, okay, what shall I do? And I told myself, I like sketching, I like cars. Let's merge both of them and become a car designer.
But you had this artistic inclination as well as...
Yeah, from my mother and my father, actually. Okay. My father is a Ghanaian architect.
Okay.
And my mother, she loves painting during her free time.
Really?
Yeah. So I grew up in that kind of family.
Oh, mega. That's awesome, dude. Do you paint as well? Like...
Yeah, I used to paint. I totally gave up on that.
Yeah.
I used to paint aquarelle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So can you explain to me like what an average day looked like for you at university when you were like, I'm going to commit to this 100%? You waking up at what sort of time?
I'm a early bird,
okay,
as people call me. So I wake up at 6 usually.
Yeah.
5:30, 6. And I would, from the bed, go to my desk and start sketching. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that like, and what are you sketching? Were you quite methodical in getting perspectives perfect?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's me. Yeah, I needed to get perspective perfect and proportions perfect.
Okay.
So that's what I focused on.
In the sketch, so that gives you a clear indication of where you're going into 3D.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what is your process now with regards to creating the images that we see?
So my process is still the same. I would say I always start with hand sketching for the first. So as soon as I have an idea, I take a sketchbook and I start sketching.
Mm-hmm.
And then I get familiar with the car I'm sketching. So with the proportions, so side views, 3/4 views.
You start with the side view?
Yeah, okay. I start with the side view. And then I make it turn a little bit. And once I have something solid, there are different ways I'm doing. So either I start reproducing my hand sketch on the tablet, or what I do most of the time, because I don't want to waste my time, I take a picture, which I like the perspective. It can be any cars, because I'm not taking it as a reference in terms of proportions, that car, but I'm taking it in terms of how I like the perspective.
Okay.
So for example, I like to use this example. When I did the Renault Spider, I did a Renault Spider like a reinterpretation.
Yeah. And
the base of that was a Renault Espace.
Okay, really?
Yeah, because I liked the proportion, the perspective of it.
Okay.
So I took the Renault, actually it was a Scenic. And I took the Renault Scenic, it was a photo, because I liked the mood, and then I sketched my Renault Speeder on it.
Do you use that for reference, like for reflections and stuff as well? Or
No.
Okay.
No. Okay. I just use it for the wheel position and the perspective.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay.
So that's what I do. Either I start directly on the tablet when I feel like it. Tonight I was sketching a new one.
Yeah.
And I did directly on the tablet.
Wow.
Yeah, because I had enough hand sketches and I knew what I wanted. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
How long does it take you to do something like that? I mean, in terms of, you've like from start to from the first rough sketches to a rendering?
I would say it varies, but between 6 to 8 hours.
Okay.
To have a final juicy sketch.
Okay. And the actual rendering process is like?
It's like, sometimes it's very quick. Sometimes when I feel, it's a feeling. So when I feel like it, it can be an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Okay.
Today, I would say the one I'm doing now, I will end up at 3.5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. What about your 3D capabilities?
No 3D capabilities.
No 3D.
I won't lie. I think, to be really humble, I think I understand everything about 3D. So I have a very good relationship with my modelers because what they appreciate is that I know where I'm going. So I can understand I'm understanding Alias. Basically, when I was at Renault last year, I was working on actually I was selected for the show car, Geneva. And I was working with my modeler, and I wanted a precise transition from A pillar to hood. And my modeler was like, oh, I don't know how to do that. And I told him, but what if we would do it like this? Like you build one surface like this, and then another surface like this, and then there is an intersection here. And he was like, fuck, and he just did it, and that was it.
Wow.
So I understand the program, but I don't touch it.
Okay.
Because that's also where I'm a bit old school. I believe if you want to be good at something, you have to be 100%.
Okay.
And I decided that I was a designer, so I was 100%. My focus was 100% on sketching and Photoshop.
Okay.
And that's why I think we have a healthy relationship, because I know modelers are quite sensitive with designers touching the model. Yeah. So I'm out of that.
Okay.
Of course, I would like to model some stuff myself, because now I mean, with all the 3D printers, I want also to experience some stuff like that. So I'm starting learning Blender, but it's the very beginning. I'm not a good modeler.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm pretty interested in Blender as well, and but it's like I've got like 5 books to read and 3 programs to learn, and it's just
exactly time.
It's time, dude.
Yeah.
It's and
we all have the same problem.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's quite interesting that you say that, because I've worked with, I mean, a whole range of different designers, and some are, I think particularly when I was at Jaguar, there was most of the designers at that time anyway, it was a while ago now, but they were, very few of them were touching Alias. And I kind of, at some point, what that often means is that you get somebody that's really kind of committed to a vision and an idea, and not only committed to that vision and idea, but they've actually thought about how we can interpret that. What as you were talking about transitions, and I, that makes the whole process so much easier when somebody's thought about something.
That's what I believe. That's what I believe. I believe that if you have the abilities as a designer to jump on Alias, you will do it too quickly, and then you will end up with a car that is full of surfaces, and it does not make sense at the end of the day.
Okay.
So that's my feeling. I know that there are people that are completely the other way around in terms of thinking, but from what I've seen, from what I've experienced, I don't think it's really good. I don't think those guys, they really know what they are doing, except for a few. I know a few designers that are touching Alias, but at the end of the day, when you see the final product, okay, they did it on their own, from sketch to final product, but it's not at the level where it could be. And that's exactly what I don't want.
Okay.
That's why I'm a bit old school, because I like that everybody has its own specialties, and everybody is doing it 100%. Yeah. Because at the end, the product is not suffering from that. Actually, it's a big success. So.
I think that's fucking great. I really subscribe to that notion as well. I think it's great when everybody can do everything, but quite often?
They do it 50%.
50%.
50 of that, 50 of that, 50 of that. But never 100%, 100%.
Right. Yeah. And also, but the big thing is committing to a certain idea, you know, and that also gets lost in that process.
Yeah. What makes me tired those days about our process is that we are trying to do everything too fast. We don't have time for anything anymore. We want everything for tomorrow, and people don't understand anymore that those things takes time. And we are cutting, and the product is suffering from that. And that makes me sad in our how to say, in the automotive, I guess industry, it's industry. I think it's everywhere the same, but of course it makes me sad because it's my industry. But now the products are really suffering from that. Yeah, and we want also now it's funny because the managers are requesting the designer to be a good designer, a good Blender modeler, or a good Alias modeler, a good VRED renderer. Yeah, but
is that what you feel? Is that what really?
Yeah, and my question to them is: are you able to do that yourself?
Right.
You are asking stuff to the new generations that you are not even able to do yourself.
Right.
So why are you asking that things?
Yeah, absolutely. When you are working with somebody, do you so you obviously, you know, you first take your time on your own, you work out a theme, and then you probably present them with a rendering and also some sketches, like possibly side views and sections. Do you go to that level, or like what?
So usually it goes in, I would say, 3 to 4 different steps. So the first step is the competition with the other designers. So there you produce themes. So it's more hand sketches or a bit of hand sketch with a bit of contrast. So light and shadow to describe the volumes. Or if you have more time, it depends. You can even go deeper into renderings. That's the first step. Then you have a first presentation, you show to your boss. And then they are selecting themes. And then the second round is going more into detail, so more juicy sketches, more precise section, really describing your idea. And then you go to another presentation, and usually they pick, let's say, 3 themes, and then you have to go through polygon modeling. That's my experience, the experience I had.
Okay.
And for me, it's the best because first you have to build up the idea on your own, so you can really explore things. And then when they pick a theme, then you go with your modeler, and then you spend time to make a proportion model. Yeah.
Okay.
And then through weeks and weeks, it's getting more and more defined. And then usually what happens is that they would send the data to the clay modelers, and then they would mill quarter scale or third scale model. And then we would start refining on the clay, and then it's back and forth, scanning, going back to polygon, going back to clay, going back to polygon, and then finally Alias.
Okay, so where your experience has generally been that Alias is, you guys are not using Alias for concept modeling at all?
No, not from my background.
Okay,
yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. In Japan, it was only clay, not even polygon. So we start straight on clay. When I was in Japan, in Daihatsu Toyota.
So you've got the buck, rough clay on there.
And those guys are
machines.
The Japanese modelers. Yeah,
really?
They are killers.
Yeah.
They can build a clay model in 1.5, 2 days.
Fuck.
Yeah, they are machines.
That's insane.
Yeah, the best I've met.
This is like proper old school shit.
Yeah, and that's what I like. I mean, that's how it should be.
It's like the craft of it. Yeah,
that's what I like. Yeah.
Okay. I'm also a little bit old school like that. I think if I'd had the opportunity as well, I possibly would have become a clay modeler as well. That was something that really attracted me to the business.
Yeah, to touch the thing, right?
Yeah, the tactileness and the
direct connection.
I love it, yeah. And but I just so happened to go into digital instead, and But I'm a total technophobe, you know. To learn something new takes, like Blender, for example, you were talking about. It takes so much energy to do that, and I want to dedicate the time to it, but at the moment it just doesn't seem like a priority as well, because I've basically, for most of my career, if you can call it that, been doing concept stuff. And I think particularly in Potsdam, we were doing exteriors really, really quickly and really fast. And I was like, we are not, the modeler is not the bottleneck in the process, and how fucking fast do you want to, there's this notion sometimes of like, we need to have 10 digital models, because we still haven't really thought about what we want.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get lots of, as you were talking about, 50%, and you also get people flying into the development process without thinking about what they want, and they think that that's saving time, but that's the thing that adds on the most amount of time.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you go around circles chasing an idea that you start designing by detail, more by proportion. It doesn't.
And this is time consuming.
Have you been quite fortunate in the places that you've worked at that have subscribed and been quite open with the way that you work?
Yeah, most of the times. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. In Daihatsu, Toyota, so my first experience in Japan, they trusted me quite a bit.
Okay.
So I got access to a quarter scale model very early, and to a half scale model, and to 1-to-1 scale model.
Okay.
So I've learned a lot about clay modeling
and process. Surfacing. Yeah,
surfacing, of course, and themes. I think Japan was my best education.
Really?
Yeah, in my career. Yeah.
How long were you there for?
Roughly 3 years, 2.5 years.
Okay. Yeah. And you obviously got a lot out of that experience.
Yeah, I suffered a lot because it was quite challenging for a gaijin to be in Japan, to be in Toyota.
What does that mean, an outsider?
A gaijin, is basically an outsider.
Is it like in South America they call Americans gringos? Is it the same kind of thing?
Yeah, I guess. Okay. In China they are called La Wai.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically it's
anybody that's
expats.
Okay.
I suffered because it's another culture. It's crazy. It's inspiring, but also tough in the same time. Inspiring usually out of the office.
Yeah.
I mean, your eyes are everywhere.
Yeah.
There is so much to see. But in the office, it's challenging because also it was Toyota. Toyota is known to be like military school. No offense, honestly, I have no regrets.
Yeah.
I went through it. It was tough, but when I think about it, I kind of miss it actually.
Okay.
I miss those guys. They are really I'd say warm, but also strict.
Okay.
And they've been tough with me. My manager was really tough with me.
Was he Japanese as well?
Yeah, he was. Okay. Yeah. We were, I think we were 5 or 6 gaijin. So 5 or 6.
Okay.
An Italian guy, a guy from Detroit, a lady from Italy also, a guy from Argentina, one from Korea. I hope I don't forget anybody, but I think, that's it.
Okay.
A guy from California.
Right.
Yeah. So and it was challenging. They were really putting pressure on us because also somehow they kind of invested on us. We have to be honest. Of course, they invest on us.
Yeah.
They are expecting new things because of our culture. But they taught me a lot, especially about themes. I've been through, because when I arrived in Japan, I was freshly out of school, and they were like, "Alan, you are too graphic. You don't do themes." And I was like, "But what is a theme? What is a theme?"
Okay.
And so the first months I was really struggling, and my colleagues, they were supporting me, like, this is this, and then they came up with something really interesting. They came up with the Toyota way of working. So they printed.
Like a handbook.
Yeah, they printed some A3s out of a kind of book that they had, and they really explained me the process, and that was perfect.
Okay.
That was boom. Okay, now I got it.
Right.
So then I started sketching proper themes, and now every time I find a cool theme, I think about those guys. I'm like, Yeah.
Okay.
So it's thanks to them that I can finally understand volumes much better and stuff like that. Before I was more, they were right. I was more graphical, which means the shape of the car was standard, and then I was building the design with the shape of the elements.
So the silhouette is almost like the same, but you just put in a new smiley face.
Yeah, exactly. And they were telling me that, they were telling me you are too graphics, and I couldn't figure out at the time.
And then, so what is the transition going from that to themes? Are you thinking more about surface treatment and...
You are thinking, basically, the funny thing is that after that, in my opinion, I was more open to the world. So I was seeing something that I like in terms of shape, and I would imagine, okay, how could I translate that into a car? And basically, my mind started working as a composition of different shape intersecting together. And that's, in my opinion, how a theme is created. It's an interaction of different shapes together. And with those beautiful transitions, you create those highlights. That's the way I see cars now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not good to just go on SimCom or Instagram and...
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Because you're tempted to just reproduce. Of course, it can be helpful because sometimes it's just a matter of... sometimes I use a lot of reference. I already have my theme. I'm already quite deep in the process. But now I'm at the time where I have all those little transitions. So basically the car is there, but like, in this corner, how could I do this transition? And that's where I go to SimCom, or I go to Pinterest, or I go to Netcar Show even.
Okay, so you're looking for ideas for solving details.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. And then I build up a bank of ideas.
Yes.
And then out of those ideas, I try to come up with my own interpretation of this transition there.
Because there's a lot of people that talk about what you're saying now. You know, it's a very popular thing to go, oh yeah, I take my inspiration from like Dieter Ram's products, you know, and then, you know, the end result is like there was no inspiration there. You know, they still are just very formulaic in their approach and going and borrowing from the same, not I want to say from the same inspired objects, but it's the same people. You know, you're just reproducing something else. You know, somebody else's thing that's already been done before.
Yeah, exactly. Another process that I have, and usually most of the time when I do, because that's what I love to do during my free time, I do reinterpretation of cars. And something that I like to do is I take the original car as a very little picture, and I look at it from distance, and I try to do something like this to really get the essence out of the car. And I'm trying to imagine how could that when the viewer will see the car, he will directly see that's the reinterpretation of this car, but it's totally new.
Okay.
That's what I love to do.
So that's how you get away from the kind of retro futurism. Like,
yeah. And in my opinion, that's how also you can come up with really original themes for your daily work.
Okay.
So I'm doing that on my free time, but it helps me on my working time.
Okay.
Also, yeah.
That's really interesting because it's a lot of people also maybe stay away from those icons because there's just too much pressure to reproduce something. It's like a balancing act, isn't it? Between going like, I want somebody when they see my vision for the first time that they know its bloodline comes from X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
And then without making it look retro as well.
Yeah. That was the best memory I have about this is I did a Porsche 962, so which I called it a Porsche 963.
Okay.
And it has this very original theme that is basically it's turning like that, and the livery.
The Rothman's car.
Yeah. And the livery is like blue on one face of the surface and white on the other face, and then it's turning, and then you have those really interesting connection with the colors. And this theme, it came up pretty quickly. I look at the car, I look at a very little image of a 962, And then I saw the way on the original one, the way how the fenders are intersecting with the very flat hood. So basically you have two super round fenders intersecting with the hood. And I thought, what if those fenders would be empty, completely like a sheet of metal? And then I had this like that's my favorite theme I came up with. Wow. Because it's truly original.
I love it. I think it's brilliant. I really like that.
Yeah.
And then, so after Japan, you go to China.
Yeah. I received a call, and actually that call was more than welcome because I was really struggling in Japan. Yeah, it was.
The call came at the right time.
Yeah. I was really struggling in Japan. It was really a lot of pressure. I had basically a skin disease because of stress.
Really?
Yeah, to tell you, that level of pressure. But everybody, I mean, not everybody, but most of the people in the office, they had to deal with skin stress.
Really?
Like basically the stress would reflect on the skin.
Jesus.
And I had red dots everywhere, and I was like, wow, I need to do something. And then I received a call, like, okay, perfect. And then I was invited to Shanghai, and wow, that was another slap in my face.
Really?
Yeah, it was wow. I thought in Japan I could see everything, but no, in China it was totally the opposite, basically.
Because you went over when there was I felt that they were that at that point, China was starting to really invest in its design.
Yeah.
And they were obviously learning from the rest of the world.
Yeah. I always said China for me was right place, right moment.
I think so, yeah. That was the time to go, for sure.
Yeah, those 3 years, they were massive. We accomplished so much in only 3 years.
So how was that different in terms of was it very much like a European working culture, or was this a
I can't really tell you about European because I never had European experience before.
Oh, of course. Okay.
Yeah. So, but what I appreciated, and that's also part of my decisions in my career, what I appreciated is that you were not like if you would be in Volkswagen or BMW or those big groups where you would be, I always compare, you would be a water drop in an ocean. I was really, they were expecting things from me, and I had an impact in decisions. So they would really listen to what I had to say. And that feeling, it's really good. And I think a lot of people are missing that in their career. I think they feel that they're just sketch monkeys. And I never wanted to be a sketch monkey. I always wanted to be part of the revolution, if I can say. Yeah. So Cherry for me was really a good experience because
But you had a great boss though as well, right?
Yeah, I had a perfect boss for that. Yeah, James Hope.
I've heard nothing but good things about that guy. I only heard good things about him.
He's a super nice guy. He gave me a lot of freedom. He gave me the freedom that I really wanted to have. And it was a respectful relationship between us because he was smart enough to think, okay, this guy or those guys, because I was not the only one, those guys, they have a great potential, and I will give them the freedom they need to express themselves. And I think that's the best you can do as a boss, because basically we would rise together. He would, I remember every time on the show, he would give some interviews and he would say, hey, that's the designer of the car.
Okay.
Yeah. So
that's not a common thing at all.
That's the type of guy he is.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mega.
So, yeah.
And you were there for how long?
I was there for 3 years.
Okay.
And in 3 years, I did 2 show cars.
Yeah.
2016, 2017. I did the first new production car. And I worked on a lot of other cars, which I can't really talk about. But,
sure.
Yeah.
Mega. And then after that, you make the pilgrimage across to America.
Yeah. After that, I had a lot of opportunities. Yeah. In China. But I always told myself when I was a kid, I want to go to California one day.
I know. That was a dream of mine as well.
Yeah. I want to go to California, and The funny reason behind that, it's because I'm a big fan of Schwarzenegger.
Really?
Yeah.
That's the connection.
That's the connection. Because, yeah, that's funny.
I thought you were gonna say like surf culture or
no, I don't know.
Baywatch or something.
No, Schwarzenegger, because he inspired me quite a lot. He inspired me nothing to do with bodybuilding, but with his mindset. He inspired me with his mindset, yeah. The way he was working on things, like never give up attitude, and he has those 6 rules of success, which I applied in my career. So I thought, okay, if this is where he succeeded, I have to go there.
Wow.
Yeah. And of course, then there is Rode Mori, Singer, all those Porsche guys,
wow.
Magnus Walker. So I really wanted to be part of that culture, yeah.
Mega.
Yeah.
And you were at Faraday for a period until things went south. And then
basically I was a contractor in California, and I didn't know the place, never been, so I didn't know what to expect. And initially I was signing for another car company. I was supposed to be a contractor there. I already knew a modeler there. I mean, it was a kind of family group. So that's what also pushed my decision to go there. Because I had much bigger offer in China, much bigger. I could be a millionaire by now if I would have stayed. But so it was not a money-based decision, but it was more of, okay, I want to go there, I want to meet people, I want to really learn about the culture. And so I was supposed to work in another car company, and the day the people came to empty my apartment in Shanghai, that same day, my new employer from California is calling me, and he said, "Alan, we have a problem. We lost the deal." We lost the deal for everybody. Yeah. So because of issues on contracts and stuff like that. So we lost the deal. So you're coming to California, but you don't have a job. So I was like, okay, the guys are in my flat, putting my furniture in the container, and I don't have a job. They say, yeah, don't worry, you're good. We'll find you something. And so I flew
Was
there.
this the agent now? Or is...
So yeah, basically...
You were going through an agent?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I landed in California, and he says, look, I have 2 interviews for you. Faraday Future and BMW design work.
Oh, wow.
And I said, okay, let's do it. So 3 days after I landed, I had my first interview at Faraday Future, and they took me straight away.
Okay.
Yeah, so I didn't even go to the other interview.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so that when that folded, then you went to, or when that opportunity came to an end, you went over to Vintech.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was my... Vintech is a contractor company.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
in parallel to that, they are building Porsches.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I understand. Did you work on that Porsche?
No.
Okay.
No.
It's a very cool thing there. So
yeah.
I absolutely love it. So, dude, I wanted to ask you something. You're probably one of the first French designers that I've met that isn't like a fucking hardcore Citroën or Renault, for example. But you do like the Renault 5, right?
Yeah,
okay.
I do.
But your first love is it
my
Porsche?
First love is Porsche.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what is the connection there?
Why Porsche?
Yeah, what is there a connection?
So if I have to find a connection, I guess it's because my parents, they would take us every summer to Austria. And every time on the Autobahn, I would see those crazy 911s, because back in the days I was 5, 6, 7, because we would go every year, summertime. And so I could see 965, 993 GT2, cars that we don't see anymore on the road. 2.7 RS, you would see
all the time.
Yeah, exactly. ST, 2.5 ST, just like that on the road.
Dude, for me, that's like the ultimate. Those are that's it. Like 911 is where it's.
So that's how I grew up. Every summer I had access to those cars, visual access.
Okay.
I would take a lot of pictures, and I would make. I was a bit crazy. I was taking pictures of many cars. I mean, it was early 90s, so I would see Ferrari Koenig, the Koenig Special, the twin turbo thing. There was a guy that I would see every summer. He had one. I would take pictures of all of those cars, Ferrari 512s, F40, F50, and I would have my album, and I would make every brand. So they would be classified by brand.
You have to organize it.
And by year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mega.
Yeah, and then Porsche stayed. I don't know why.
Top of the class.
Yeah.
And French cars, like what?
French cars, it's because I'm from the West and Brittany, and there is 20 minutes from my parents' place. There is this museum called L'Oréac. It's a car museum with a track, and they would have all those events where I would go, and I could see Jean Ragnotti, so he's the most famous Renault 5 Turbo pilot.
Yeah.
And I would have access, again, visual access to all those cars. So Alpine, A310, A110. Yeah, so I grew up in this. I'm from the countryside. So basically my neighbors, it's not kidding. The house of my parents is located in a place where my neighbors is a cornfield and another cornfield. I have no neighbors. You have to cross the road to find the first neighbors.
Right.
And that's a common road that many people are taking because we have an army base, a military base, not so far from the house. And so we have a big straight line. And of course, all the guys with cool cars, they would take that street. So I could see crazy cars in front of my house, like Cobras or like Ferraris, GT3s, and of course all the French cars.
Okay.
Like, Renault 5 Turbo, Clio V6.
Are you still building the Renault 5 Turbo?
Yeah, I'm still. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how is that going?
It's going slowly, of course, because of the money, especially right now. But I have all the parts to make it.
Okay.
I'm just missing the engine, but I have the transmission, I have the seats, I have the body kit, I have the interior, I have the wheels. So I'm gathering
bits and bobs.
Yeah.
Has your wife threatened to leave yet because of that?
No. She's used to it.
Okay.
It's my 6 cars.
Okay.
Yeah.
You've got 6 cars.
Yes.
Jesus, what?
It's an obsession.
Oh my God! What? So what's in the stable?
Yeah, so my first car, which I will keep forever, is a 71 Beetle.
Yes.
And now it has a Subaru engine with Boxster brakes, with Porsche seats, Porsche meters, like basically all the Porsche parts I could put on this car. I put, So it's a 300. No, it's actually 260 horsepower, 900 kilos.
Mega.
Yeah.
Fucking.
Then I have a 79 Bulli.
Yes.
T2 Volkswagen Bus.
Wow, my grandparents have got one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've got the Westphalia that they bought in South Africa. Yeah, it was basically new. They've had it. And it's now back in Germany. But,
all right.
So you got one of those.
So I have that. I have 2 944 Porsche. I have one S2 from 89.
What color?
Black on black. And I have a red, another 944, a red one, 2.7.
Okay.
85.5.
Oh, God.
With 16-inch Fuchs wheels.
Fucking hell. Where are these cars? Back in France? So
the S2, I will get it back. It's actually here in Stuttgart.
Do you want to get rid of it?
No. I'm thinking if I do that, it's just to finish the Renault, because the Renault is
first love.
It's not my first love, but it's really a car that 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 really inspired me.
Okay.
Yeah. So the black one is here in Stuttgart. The Beetle is in the south of France because we just installed the Subaru Turbo, which I brought with me from Japan. So I took the engine with me in the container. So now it's getting installed. It's almost ready. So the bully is at my parents' place. The red 944 is still in LA. It was my ride in LA. And a friend of mine is keeping it and he's going to ship it in the upcoming months.
That's not an S2 though, right?
No, that's not an S2. It's a 2.7. Yeah.
Okay.
It's the very first phase 2.
Can I ask you a question with regards to the S2? Because I've deliberated over their car a lot. And on paper, I like it. The thing that I'm not sure about is their 4-cylinder engine.
Yeah.
I know it's at the time at least the biggest 4-cylinder engine ever produced.
Yeah, 3 liter.
What does it sound like? Because I haven't, does it sound good?
I like it.
Okay.
Personally, I like it. But what I like about this car, it's of course the driving position. You can't beat that. If you sit in a 911 after a 944, you have the feeling you're sitting in a Golf. No kidding. Yeah, you're really like...
Okay.
You have the shifter just here.
Oh yeah, because it's like,
it's super low. You're sitting super low, and that feeling is great.
Okay.
And
it's
also,
well balanced as well.
And it's well balanced. That's the other thing. It's 50-50.
Okay.
Because you have the engine in the front and the transmission in the back.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's the two things that many people don't like this Porsche. Of course, if I would have had the money, that wouldn't be the one I would have picked. But I don't regret it.
For me, that's what I would get the S2 over the turbo, for example.
Yeah. Sure thing. Yeah, that's why I got the S2.
Wow. Where did you get that?
So funny thing is, I bought it to the father of a friend of mine, and it's actually a German car, which he bought it in Germany 14 years ago. Took it to France. And I told him, if one day your father is selling this car, I'm going to buy it. And 3 years ago, he said, okay, my father wants to sell it. I said, okay, buy it. Yeah. And so now it's back in Germany.
Okay, well, when you want to sell it, you can't call me, okay?
Yeah. I'm thinking of selling both.
Really?
Yeah, okay. as a group.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm not decided yet.
Okay. And then what else is left? Is that?
2 Renault 5.
Two Renault 5.
2 Renault 5 and 2 Renault 5 turbo kits.
Okay, my God.
But I think I will keep. I fell in love with the Renault 5 when I after I bought one. I bought one for the Renault 5 turbo project, but I fell in love with even the car itself. It's a beautiful car.
What is the Dyno Car? Is it just a standard Renault 5?
It's a standard Renault 5. The one I'm restoring because I have two. One, I decided I'm going to restore brand new, like original out of the factory. It's a Super Campus. So it's actually a quite rare Renault 5 right now. It's an 83.
83?
Yeah.
Good year.
Yeah.
Were you born in 83?
No, 88.
Okay. I'm 83.
Yeah. I wanted to get a Porsche 88, but
okay.
That's actually my dream car is a 3 liter SC 88 with the turbo kits factory.
When did they start making? When did the G50 gearbox come in? Was it 88?
It would have a G50.
Okay.
It would have a G50.
Okay. Yeah, that'll do. Yeah.
That's my dream car.
Okay.
Yeah. And what I was saying, the Renault 5. And the other one is a TS 82 or 81, I don't remember. But then this one I'm going quite deep. So I'm cutting the rear, and I'm buying the kit as the original turbo had. So basically to put the engine in the back.
Is this somebody that's reproducing those?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a guy from Spain.
Okay.
Yeah. And he's selling that kit, which is exactly the same as an original one.
Yeah.
But I'm planning to put a Renault 21 turbo gearbox, which is quite close to the Renault 5 turbo gearbox. It's a bit longer, It's a bit longer in terms of ratio. And I'm planning to put a Megane RS engine.
Megane RS, really?
Yeah, 265 horsepower.
Wow, Alan.
Yeah.
So listen, I wanted to also talk to you about the Le Mans project that you did.
Yeah, the Porsche. Yeah.
I think you've probably had no end of like compliments on the level of detail that you've gone into that thing. What I want to know is how do you manage to motivate 5 other people, or how many to get involved and to dedicate
4 people, yeah.
4 people, okay.
Because I'm talented in that. No, because
how did it come about?
I think again it was Shanghai, right moment, right place.
Right, okay.
I met the guys. I had this project before, way before. I started sketching a personal Porsche project 5 years from Shanghai. So it's a project that I had in, but it was not a long tail at the time. It was an RS60 reinterpretation.
Okay.
Yeah, you know the one I'm talking about?
No.
So it's known as the 718 RSK.
Okay.
It's a very small, it's almost like a 550 Spider.
Oh, okay. Yes, I do.
More pointy towards the nose.
Yes.
I wanted to do a modern interpretation of that. And at the time I was a student, so I was intern in a company, and impossible to motivate modelers. Like after 6, ciao, and they are going home, which I can understand. And also I was young, so it wouldn't look the way the 908 is looking. But when I arrived in Shanghai, I was always doing a Porsche project on the side, like Porsche sketches, whatever, imagining the future of Porsche. And it was a couple of weeks, we started to see on Facebook or on Instagram, we started to see people trying to do Gran Turismo, because Porsche at the time, they couldn't do anything with Gran Turismo because they signed a contract which didn't allow them to basically participate to polyphony, because they signed a contract with EA Game, and they couldn't do anything with Gran Turismo, and that's why it was Roof but not Porsche in Gran Turismo. I don't know if you knew that.
I didn't know.
It's not because they didn't want to be in, it's because they couldn't be in, because they signed a contract of exclusivity with another game producer. And that's why you have Need for Speed Porsche and stuff like that.
Okay.
And so it was that big wave of, Gran Turismo versus OEMs. So they would do an Alpine Gran Turismo, a Nissan Gran Turismo, Infiniti Gran Turismo, but no Porsche, because they were not allowed to do it. And I was, okay, so I will try to do it. And but I didn't have, at the time, it didn't cross my mind that it would go so far. I just did a sketch. And that sketch was shared on Car Design News. And a lot of people was talking about this sketch. And for me, it was like, okay, but why? Why? And so I went to Marcos. Marcos was my modeler at the time. He was my modeler on the production car I was working on. And we were kind of friends because he liked the way I was working, as I told you before. Very precise in my sketching and in my sketches, and he really appreciated that I never wanted to touch his stuff. Marcos is a guy, he's mental. He's really good at what he's doing. And he doesn't like when designers are trying to touch his stuff, which I can understand and which I respect. And I went to him and I said, look, they shared my sketch on Car Design News. People seem to like it. What do you think of staying after work and building the car? And we had already a cool relationship, and he said, yeah, let's try that. Yeah, I mean, yeah, the car looks great. So we started the first 2-3 weeks. First he started on Alias, but after a couple of days, he said, no, we can't start from zero on Alias. He was not comfortable with the idea. So funny fact is, he learned ZBrush just for that.
Really?
Yeah, and so we built the first proportion model on ZBrush.
Right.
So ZBrush is a kind of clay modeling, digital clay modeling with a tablet. I was blown away by the technique. Yeah, you dig in the material with your stylet. And so we were doing that for 3, 4, 5 weeks, something like that. And at the end, I was like impatient. I was like, yeah, no, it's good. Let's jump on Alias. And he was like, no. We can improve it even more. So we really made it last for quite long. So that's why I would say a month and a half. And then he said, okay, now we have a decent thing. We have the wheelbase correct. We have the cabin. We have the fenders. We can jump on Alias. And then he started on Alias. And that was 2, 3, 4 months. And it was back and forth. I was sending him feedbacks. So he was modifying the data, or we would sit together after work. So basically from 6 to 10 or 11, we would do that on a daily basis.
After your day at the office?
Yeah. We would stay in the office. I asked permission to James. So of course, James said, yeah, for sure. If your work is done, if your daily work is done, and if I have nothing to say, you can keep going on that project.
Okay.
And it was giving me actually an extra motivation to push for my daily work. So he was super pleased. And at the time I was doing the production car, the show car, and the Porsche. So my day was quite packed.
You're a machine, huh?
Yeah, at that time, yes, I was. Yeah, but now I'm a bit more relaxed. Yeah. But I was, really, I was waking up at 5, because what I love in China is that the sunrise super early, 4:30, 5. So I will wake up with the sun. And
do you still do that now?
I'm always the first in the office, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, or the second, but not more than that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my attitude. That's what I like. I like to wake up early and be at the office when there is nobody, because I can sketch, there's more peace. So I would be at 6:30 or 7 in the office, sketching. For the first hour is just for sketching, to warm up. And then the first people start coming in, and then I can start Photoshop. Yeah. And,
wow.
That's what I like.
You still doing that every day?
Today I'm director, so it's a bit different. But I'm still in the office really early, because then I can focus. I can organize my day. I can think about which guy is on which project. I can, if needed, if I see that there is a need, I can doodle some stuff to inspire him or support him. So that's what I am doing from 7 to arrive between 8 and 8:30, 9. That's what I'm doing. So I have a bit of peace. There is nobody, because then starts coming the people and with questions. Yeah. So it's a very different aspect of the job now for me.
Okay.
Because before I was just a designer, so I was comparing myself, when I was discussing with my wife, I was comparing myself as an autist, because I could lock myself into a place where I don't hear anybody, and I'm just focusing.
Wow.
Yeah, and now it's more and more difficult for me to do that.
Okay.
Because I have too many responsibilities, and I have to remember stuff and inform people and remember meetings or blah blah blah. Yeah, and it's difficult. It's challenging. Yeah, but back to the Porsche. Back to the Porsche. The funny story is that I asked Marcos before we started. I asked Marcos, how long do you think it would take? And he said, 3 to 4 months, I think we have something. And
can you do it in 2 weeks?
No. I was like, honestly, I was not impatient, because
you wanted to get it right.
Yeah, and because from the beginning we were on the same page. Very early on, I didn't lie to him. I said, man, if we do this, I'm expecting Daniel Simon level. That's what I was targeting. At the time, Daniel Simon still is. He's the guy who achieved the most, I think,
it's insane,
in the business. He's always juicy renders, always super minimalistic products, super pure, super advanced.
But details.
So he was really the benchmark. And I told Marcos, that's what I'm targeting. And that's why I told him honestly, If you say no, I understand. But if you say yes, there is no way back. We start, we finish. And he has the same mindset. So it was easy for him to say yes. And after 6 months, we started to see a bit of the final product. So basically the surface, I would say after 6 months, the surface would be the final surfaces. Yeah, it would be almost final status. So after 6 months, we would start going into details, I would say. Of course, still refining the surfaces. And wow, man, that was, I was always thinking about this thing. I always had a sketchbook on me, and I was always sketching transitions, details, what I'm gonna write on this, because I wanted inscriptions. I wanted the car loaded with details. And that's why it has the level of details that you mentioned.
Insane, dude.
Yeah.
It's absolutely fucking
Even
nuts.
I was thinking, okay, there we're gonna have screws. What will be the type of screws?
Yeah.
And I was imagining, okay, because I don't like those, hexagonal things. So I was thinking, okay. And we had a specific design for that screw. And yeah, that's how we push the details.
Wow.
And then after, I would say 7 or 8 months, basically I asked Guillermo earlier in the process. I asked him if he wanted to design an interior for the car. And I always say about Guillermo is a great designer. He's fantastic. I really like what he's doing. He's the interior designer of the car. But he's the type of guy that he wants to see the potential before joining. Which I, again,
also understand.
Yeah, which I understand completely, because he doesn't want to burn time if it's going nowhere. And I think that's after 8 months that he said, okay, I'm in. Because he could see the car, he could see it in V-Red, he could really project himself, he could see the product, and he started sketching, and he did a crazy interior for this car. Yeah, and we were on the same page. He's a car freak as well. So I didn't really have to tell him much. I told him I want the same layout as a 917 or as a 908 Longtail back in '68. I want the driver position to be on the side of the turn. So basically the 917 and 908 are right hand drive Porsche. And I want the shifter to be at the right position as well. And that was it. And then I started. And then, yeah, it was nice because it was my first interior project, if I can say, where I could say, what if we would do it like this? So it was a super nice relationship, and he would do the same for the exterior. And that's exactly what was nice about this project. I didn't consider myself as the boss. There was no boss. We were all together. Marcos was giving his opinion, and we would listen to his opinion. We would really sit together and say, okay, what do you think of the car? Is it advanced enough? Maybe we could find another idea for the front. I went through 5 or 6 different fronts.
Where did you get the insight to have that sort of attitude within that project?
What do you mean? Which attitude?
The attitude of like, I'm not the boss. This is a collaborative effort, and it's important to get everybody's.
I guess it's because of my previous experiences. I suffered a lot from hierarchy, and I'm not the type of guy that will reproduce what he suffered from. I'm the type of guy that will actually change things, try to change. And I always told Marcos before we started the project, I said, if you join me in this journey, I'm tired of that every time we are giving the credit to the designers, because it's a fact, and it's true, and I don't like that, because it does not reflect the reality of our job. There are many people working in the shadow, and I told him, if you join me on this journey, it will be 50-50. As soon as we spoke about me, I will make sure that we speak about you. And that's what happened. Every time I was mentioned in an article, he was mentioned, because without him, this car would not exist. Without any of us, this car would not exist.
Wow.
So that's the mentality. at the end, when I'm talking about this project, of course, the final product I love, but what I love the most about this is the human experience we had. It's the time we shared. It's the,
Fuck, I don't know. I wish everybody had that mindset. You know, the business would be a lot better, dude.
I think so. It's a word of ego. Of course, I have an ego, but I don't think I have an ego in that thing. I'm not seeking for getting all the credits. Every time I did a project, every time when I did the show cars or stuff like that, first of all, we did the show cars, and every time I was paying attention that we are doing a group photo, and I would put the group photo and I would tag the people and I would tell this guy did this guy did that, this guy, because it's the truth. Why should I sell myself as I'm the guy who did this? This is because of me. It's not because of me. It's because of all the guys in the background. And those guys, like you, Alias modelers, you guys are doing a crazy job as well. I mean, without you, our ideas, they would just stay 2Ds. So why shouldn't we give you the credit for what you guys are doing?
Dude, it's not just a designer versus alias thing as well. It's also, you know, in my opinion, it also happens within design. Like, as in, you know, naturally there's a design director that presents everything, but it's not often that, you know, that person would necessarily relay the credit to the other people involved as well within his own team, you know, and then that mentality then filters down to everybody else, you know. So I think, it's a shame that happens. I understand that, you know, you can't have 30 people presenting the car. It doesn't work like that. But there are instances, and it happens far too much, where there's like one person going, I designed this.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a no-go for me.
Yeah.
And I think that's what also makes this project very different from the others. And I think unconsciously, I think that's why people like this project so much, because I still receive emails for this project. It's funny that 2 weeks ago, I received an email from Porsche, and they already got one rendering high quality to print in their office. And they contacted me again. So it's Porsche 2000. They contacted me again 2 weeks ago, and now they want two additional images to print again. Yeah, still today. I mean, we have like 5 years.
That's crazy.
And
they ended up picking the project up, right?
Yeah.
How did that happen? They saw it. Somebody saw it online, and
they saw it. Funny fact is, they saw it 1 year after it was published. I mean, I don't know if they saw it 1 year after, but the first email we received was 1 year after.
And what was in that email?
So another funny fact is that when I received that email, I was at Marco's place, and we were working on phase 2 of the project, which is the RSR version. And I said, hey, Marcos, I just got an email from Porsche. No, so we were like super excited. And I was kind of afraid of opening it, because many people told me, one day, man, Porsche is going to knock at your door and they're going to...
And what? Yeah.
Because you know how it is, because I'm using their brand, blah, blah, blah. But it was the total opposite. They were like, we love what you did. We can see the passion in your work. We want to do something with you. So basically, what is your idea? And then we started brainstorming with Porsche, which was another funny fact of another super crazy story about this project. We were brainstorming with the guys, and then we ended up saying, okay, we're gonna shoot a video. So Porsche, we're gonna come to Shanghai, and then we want to give you a budget. How much would it cost to build a car? First, it was 1-to-1, and I said,
what?
And I said, guys, 1-to-1, forget it. And what is your budget? And they said the initial budget was 8K. And I say, but guys, with this, I'm not even sure I can get a quarter scale model. A quarter scale model. And then they gave me 10K. They didn't give me, but they say, okay, find something with 10K and then we do it. And luckily, I was on a daily basis, I was at the supplier because I was building the 2017 show car. And I went to the boss of the factory and I say, look, I received an email from Porsche. They have 10K. Can you build a quarter scale model? And the first reaction was, no way, blah, blah. But then after many discussions, after explaining them, look, it's Porsche. It's Porsche Stuttgart is the real deal. They want to make a video. I can make sure that there is your logo in that video. It's a win-win situation. You make it for 10K, and then you will have a good publicity. And then she was the boss, and she said, "Okay, let's do it."
What would that normally have costed?
She made the first quotation. It was a little bit less than 30K.
That's what I thought. I said to Claus earlier on, I was like, a model like that would cost like 30 grand.
Yeah,
easy.
And in France, my first intention was to do it with an old friend I have from France. He's running also a factory like that, building show cars. And I said, look, man, I want you to do the car. How much would it cost? And he said, the best price I can do for you, like friend price, it's 30K. I was like, yeah. Of course, the quality would have been then much higher, but it's already. I mean, you will see the car later. It's a high quality model, and for 10K, everybody is blown away when they see the car. And like, wow, this is 10K. Yeah, this is 10K. That's all they had.
Yeah,
that's all they had, and that's why, yeah, it's a crazy project.
Wow.
Yeah.
Alan, we need to wrap up because we need to hit the road.
Yeah.
You guys are Munich tonight and not stay in this cracked in. So, dude, it was really, really nice meeting you. And I don't know what to say. I mean, you're fucking inspiration.
Thanks.
Yeah. So, thanks very much.
Thank you, man.
Okay.
Thanks, Sam.
Claus, did you get all that? I was worried that, because I'm looking at Claus on his phone and I'm like, fuck, the camera's going to cut out.